Hello everyone, Barb here from barbaderhold.closetomyheart.com. Today I want to do a video. This is just a little talking video having to do with the Stars and Sparklers card making kit. This is found in the May-June 2021 catalog, and when I saw this, my heart leapt. I just knew I had to have it, and I loved the little stamp set and the dies that coordinate with it. You can only get this stamp and thin cut set in the Stars and Sparklers card making workshop kit. It's exclusive to this kit, and that's okay. I looked at the little card pictures over here and thought, oh, I love it. Now, there's a lot going on here, a lot more than you realize. There is a pretty big list of things that you need if you want to make these cards as they look. I think for any experienced crafter, you are probably going to have most of these items, but you might want to take a look because there is some heat embossing going on, and so you need a heat gun, and you need your anti-static powder tool, and you need Versamark or an embossing ink, and you're going to need embossing powder. So those are 4 extra things that you will need to make these cards as they are. And this is really nice because it's just a nice list of the additional supplies needed, what color inks that were used, and all the different things that were used to assemble. So I went from this and I ordered the kit, and it came, and I was super happy that it arrived. And it sat for a couple of weeks, I'll admit. I didn't get to it right away. But when I pulled it out, here's the stamp and the thin cut set all put together. Here are the instructions, the Stars and Sparklers card making workshop instructions. Nice glossy paper, nice quality, and the really good representation of the colors, very close to true when you are looking at that. And these are the cards that it makes. So you have all of these, I'll move that over there. You've got all of these beautiful cards. You make 4 of each of the designs. Aren't they pretty? I've got them in plastic sleeves to protect them. So I went through and did all of my cutting. And you follow the cutting guide. Of course, where the little scissor is, let's see if I can hold that up closer so you can see that. That little scissor right there, that little teeny scissor, that indicates your first cut that you should make. You need to look at your orientation of your paper. It tells you which direction things are supposed to be facing, which color or pattern is up versus down. It gives you all of those clues to help you so you cut your paper correctly. It also goes into the card stock. Now here's where the buyer beware comes in. There's a lot of die cutting. This is white daisy, and then there's a third piece of white daisy back here. That's a lot of die cutting those little pieces. So understand that you're not going to put this kit together in an hour. It's going to take you a little bit of time. I threw in a video and had my little baby Sizzix cutter and was able to fit everything through on my baby Sizzix, and it went fairly quickly, but I would say the better part of an hour just to cut everything. And I did follow how they showed everything laid out so that I could keep everything straight. I made little tick marks as I completed each of the sections. And the first thing that I did is I went through and took the envelopes and the card bases, and I folded the card base and I tucked it into the envelope so that I could sort all of the pieces that I was cutting into the proper card style. I just did each card individually instead of having a great big pile and then trying to sort. I just did it that way, and I was, as you can see on these instructions, it says P3, P1, P2, P4. That means project 1, project 2, project 3, project 4, so that it tells you which card design those pieces are meant to go with. If you're more on the ball than I am, you could possibly go through and cut everything alike, But I found that combining all of those same images in one pass through saves a lot of time. So I opted to just follow how they showed how they thought it would work best. The next thing, after you do all of that die cutting and get it all sorted into each of the envelopes, is to go through, and I did one card style at a time. So I emptied everything out and did all of my stamping, all of my heat embossing, everything that I needed to do for this card style. And I assembled these cards. Then I moved on to the next card style. Now, my couple of tips for you have to do with when I was going through putting these together, I started with Project 4 because that's where my instructions were. So I started assembling Project 4, and then I moved on to 3, which is this one, and then here we have 2, and then I moved back to 1. When I got to project number 1, this one here, I had gone through, let's see, how did I do this? I put all of the cards together without these stars, these glittery stars. And as I went back through then, I started with 4, 3, 2, and got to 1. When it came to putting the glittery stars, there are not enough glittery stars to put 2 stars over on this left side. You have room for 1. You have 1 star that can go there. There just aren't enough to do 2. Fortunately, I went through backwards, and so when I got to this point, I could make that adjustment. I would have probably just had to leave a star off somewhere else, and it would have been okay. But just so you know that, sometimes in the design process, corporate has more supplies than they end up giving us, and so we make adjustments, and it's all good. And I think that's good to stretch your brain to figure things out. The other thing that the instructions call for you to do is, I think, on card number 3. Yes, this one right here. So this. It calls for stamping and heat embossing those little tassel pieces. I looked at that and went, no thank you. And I got a stamp pad. I chose charcoal. You could go with pewter, a gray color, and I just stamped them. And quite frankly, I don't think you can really tell. When I give this card to someone, they're not going to look at that and go, oh, you didn't heat emboss those tassels. No one will know. No one will care. It saves a lot of time, and those are itty bitty pieces that can be challenging to get stamped and then to get the powder on there and get it knocked off. I did find that our little tweezers that we have, I had just gotten these not long ago. I think I showed them in a haul. They're close to my heart, little tweezers, and these worked really well because I actually stamped the image on, say, the balloon, stamp the image, and I could slide this under and grab a hold of it when it had the Versamark on it and get the stamp off without it flopping around and making a big mess. So I found these little tweezers to be super helpful. They have a really nice little pointy tip, and they're nice and thin. So if you don't have tweezers, give those a whirl. And that's it. That's all I have. It is a super cute, super adorable stamp and thin cut set, and I know I will get a lot of use out of it. The other thing I will tell you before we go is on here when you're stamping all of these in the different colors, I laid all 4 of these out and kind of assembly line stamped them, and I stamped the outside ones and then just kind of worked my way in so that I didn't end up with all of these stamps super close and then super far apart on the other side. So I think it worked out pretty well. And you just draw this line. I just free-handed that line on there. So super easy, super fun, super bright and cheery, very patriotic, if that's a thing for you. It is at our house. And they are adorable. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you will give this Stars and Sparklers card making workshop a try. Give yourself some time. Have a blessed crafty day, and I'll see you next time.